Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're regular here, you know I review many photographic, audio and video related products. Well, today we're looking at an adapter that I purchased for my Nikon Z bodies. I've got the Z5, the ZFC and the Z50. The ZFC and the Z50 are APS-C crop sensor bodies, and then obviously the Z5 is a full frame body. I'm actually filming on the ZFC as my main shot at the moment. That's got the 50mm f1.8 lens, full frame lens on the ZFC. That's getting the close-up shot you see now. I've also got a wide shot being filmed on my Z5 with the Viltrox, I think it's a 24mm lens or a 23mm lens. I will put in the description which lens it is on the Z5. And so you can see what that camera is like. I'm loving my Z bodies actually. I did have the Z6, I sold that a little while ago, but I've now gone back into the Z system. But the issue that I have, as many people will have, when you're swapping systems, you're swapping lenses, and that's where it gets really costly, because you build up a system based on, you know, whatever lenses you're using, be it Canon EF, be it Sony E mount, be it, you know, it doesn't matter what it is, whatever it might be. When you go over to another brand, you've either got to ditch those lenses or you've got to adapt those lenses to fit the new bodies. And adapted lenses, I have found in my experience, have never been as good as native lenses for the particular body in question. Until now, I'm absolutely delighted to say this new mount here, I've purchased the Megadap, this is a box for it actually, the Megadap ETZ11 or ETZ11 adapter to adapt Sony E mount lenses onto my Nikon Z mount bodies. And it is absolutely flipping awesome. It works really well. I've got fitted at the moment my Sony 16-70, it was a Zeiss 16-70 f4 lens to my Nikon Z50. That's a bizarre thought, isn't it, that you can adapt these lenses to your Nikon Z mount bodies. And the exciting thing is, for me, it retains the autofocus, it retains the metadata. So when you're loading on your computer, you get your ISO, shutter speeds, aperture, etc., that you use when you took the image. So it's transmitting all the necessary information to be able to, you know, use these lenses effectively. And I have to say, in my experience so far, the results are outstanding. In fact, the results are as good as a native lens, or the results are going to be as good as what the optics are that you put in front of it in the first place. So if you've got a bad quality lens, no amount of adapters is going to make that lens better. But if you've got decent lenses, you're going to get decent results. And that's what really excited me. Now, this adapter is really, really tiny. I'll take it off my Z50 so you can actually see how tiny. And it needed to be tiny because of the flange distance between the various bodies. But you'll see here that this adapter is absolutely minuscule. It is thin as anything. Look at that. Look how thin that is. You know, that is an incredibly thin adapter. That's what enables it to work. So you've got obviously your E-mount lenses on that side, and then that is your Z mount going to go onto your Z mount bodies. It looks, you know, a bit Heath Robinson. I have to say, these connections at the bottom here with this sort of resin coated stuff on them looks a bit Heath Robinson. It doesn't really inspire a lot of confidence in the adapter when you see that kind of construction, but the actual end result is fine and it works brilliantly. I've got no issues with the way that works. Other than that, it is nicely made. It is metal construction or aluminium with a good, you know, good release here to take the lenses on and off. It is nicely made. It's just that that sort of resin on that fit on those contacts there is a bit misleading, but gold contacts at the bottom there, and as I said, it does transmit all the EXIF information. So so what we'll do, we'll put that back on the lens. I don't even know where I put the lens. You just line up the dots. Now it is a bit awkward because there's two sets of dots, but I find I got used to it in the end. So you've got the red dot to the white dot to match up the adapter to the E-mount lens. So that's, oops, let's get it right there. So that adapts that to the lens. That's now fitted on the lens. And then you've got a little red dot on here somewhere. That's where it gets, so there's a little red dot. You ain't going to be able to see that, but there's a little red dot on the top there. Possibly might be able to see that. That aligns up with the white dot on the camera body. You won't see that, that's lined up with that. And then that just slots on. And then that is, you know, ready to go. And as I say, I've got it fitted to my Z50. Very happy with the results. I'm going to quickly go through the, some of the results with the Z50. Now, when I first looked at this adapter, all the other reviewers, and there aren't many of them reviewing this particular adapter, but the few that have only used it on a full frame Z mount body, such as the Z5, the Z6, the Z7, whatever. I wasn't absolutely certain it would work with the crop sensor body, such as the ZFC and the Z50. Well, I can confirm it works great on both. So whether you're taking stills or whether you're taking video, the adapted lens will work on your crop sensor bodies or your full frame bodies. You do obviously with E-mount lenses, you have to be careful if you're using a crop sensor E-mount lens on a full frame Z mount body, it's going to go back into crop sensor mode. I know that sounds really confusing, but it is. So just be aware of that. So you would, if you're using an FE mount lens, which is the full frame E mount lenses, on a full frame Z mount body, then you're fine. But I haven't used any full frame E mount lenses on these bodies, hence the reason I've been using this adapter on my ZFC and my Z50, because I've got crop sensor E mount lenses. Now we've got that out of the way, but it does work fine on both. Now, when I finish this clip, we'll go over to the Z5 and do a bit of filming so you can see how well it works in video mode as well as it does in photo mode. But yeah, that's now fitted to my Z50, so let's turn it on and you'll see that it does show all the autofocus points, and it will auto. I don't think it's going to autofocus well in here. There's nothing to focus on, but you can see the green focus points are coming up, no problem at all. Let's just zoom in a bit. You see that it's focusing absolutely fine, quite tenaciously, fast, accurate. As far as speed is concerned, I have found the focus speed really fast. I've not had an issue with it hunting, looking for focus. The eye detect works great, both animal eye detect and human eye detect. All of that is working absolutely fine. So you'll have no issues there. Now, when you get the adapter, it is very, very well worthwhile downloading the latest firmware for the adapter. In the instructions, it gives you the website where you download the firmware from. I had a few issues with it. It wasn't, the translation from Chinese to English wasn't great, but I did manage to do it and it was fine. And I'll tell you why it's important to download the firmware, because when I used it firstly with my Z50, I took it out of the box, used it on the Z50, it wouldn't work. The autofocus didn't work. But as soon as I updated the firmware, it worked a treat. So it's very, very well worthwhile making sure the latest firmware is updated. Now, it does come with a little USB cable that you use to update the firmware. And what you need to do, this here has got a clip, and you have to clip that onto the adapter. So I'll show you what I mean by that. It's not as straightforward as what you might think, in all fairness. Oops. And it's not incredibly complicated. Well, it's not complicated at all, but it's a little bit fiddly. But right now, so now that we've got the adapter, so that's the adapter. There we go. That's the adapter. And what you need to do on the back on here, there's 4 contact points. So what you need to be able to do inside there's 4 pins inside there, 4 holes basically, where this has got this adapter's got 4 connection pins on the adapter, which you can just see there's 4 pins there, but they've got to line up with those 4 holes. And once you've got that lined up like that, you click that in, and then that will enable it to actually update. So that's now firmly in place. That'll work quite happily, and you plug that straight into your USB port on the computer, and that'll enable you to update the firmware. What will happen on the computer, it will come up with a drive, just like an external hard drive. So you download the firmware update, you unzip it and drop that file straight into the folder that appears on your hard drive, then eject the folder, and then that is then updated, and you have an adapter with its latest firmware. It is fiddly to do, and you know, you have to get it right. So what I'm going to do is just put this lens back on the camera body just to protect it. I don't like lenses off bodies for too long because of dust getting in. So let's put that back on. See, once you get used to how this comes on and off, and where these little indications are on how you actually fit the lens, it is quick and easy to do, but it does take a little bit of time just remembering where those connections are, not connections, you know, the little dots to show you how to line up the bayonet mount. But once you've done that, it's fine. Now, as far as image qualities is concerned, as I said, you'll have no problem with image quality. You'll get the same image quality off the adapted lenses as you would if that lens was actually a native lens fitted to the Nikon body, or the Sony lens fitted to the Sony body, you know. So you're not losing image quality and anything like that. But what we'll do, we're very quick. I'm just going to go through some that I've favorited. Is there such a word as favorited? I have no idea. I will put these images up on my Flickr page. There will be a link in the description of this video, so you can go straight to the Flickr page and have a look at them there. It's going to be much better doing that than studying them on YouTube because of YouTube's compression. And also, I'm just going to flick through them. I'm not going to go through them in any detail. So have a look at them on Flickr. There'll be images taken with my ZFC and my Z50. These first set of images that we're going to look at here are taken on my Z50. I went into town and took some of these images on my Z50, and you'll see that they're certainly sharp. I mean, crikey me, I actually think this lens is performing better on my Z50 than it did on my A6600, but that is just a psychological thing. It's got to be, because the sensor in the A6600 is excellent, you know, we know that. So you know, that is just one of those, just, you know, a psychological issue. But you can see here, everything is so sharp. You know, it renders the images beautifully. It's really good. So, you know, you'll have a lot of confidence going out using adapted Sony lenses, or it doesn't have to be Sony. This is a Sigma 18-50 lens on, or was it the 16-70? I'm not sure. If I studied all this metadata, I'd be able to see which one it is, but I think it's the Sigma 18-50 I went out with. And as you see, they're, you know, lousy day. Weather was absolutely lousy, but you know, very flat images. I mean, there's no sparkle to the images, but that's a fault of the weather, I'm afraid. You know, but yeah, very, very sharp. The software I'm using out of idle curiosity is Luminar 4. There's a new one called Luminar Neo, which is also fabulous. And I recommend this software because it's a great alternative to Lightroom. And you know, it's worth looking at. We'll put a link in the description where you can download a trial version of Luminar Neo or Luminar 4, Luminar AI. And if you do decide you like it, then use the coupon code AVP to get $10 off your purchase price. So, you know, that is fantastic. You save a bit of money. I earn a few pennies, not a lot, but I earn a few pennies from it as well. But crucially, you're saving a bit of money, and it's a lot more cost effective than Lightroom. There's no subscription. Once you've purchased it, you own it. So that is, you know, that is fabulous, isn't it? So you can see I could go on forever. I'm not going to say these images will be on my Flickr page. The only thing that I did notice, or didn't notice, I can't quite decide if the lens image stabilization in these Sony lenses are working. Because when I go into the menu on the camera body, it's not highlighting the fact that the lens stabilization is working. So I actually don't know if the adapter is transmitting the stabilization from the lens or whether it isn't. But of course, if you're using it on something like the Z5, Z6, Z7, then that's got in-body image stabilization, so you've got no problem. And also, I done a lot of these photographs with my Sigma 18-50, and that hasn't got image stabilization anyway, and neither has a Z50 or a ZFC. So I just made sure the shutter speed was just that little bit higher, just to make sure I didn't get any blurred images. But I would have to have done that on the Sony bodies anyway, unless I use the A6600, which has got in-body image stabilization. But my ZV-E10 hasn't got image stabilization, so it wouldn't have made any difference anyway. But I just put that out there that I don't think, even if a lens has got image stabilization, it's transmitting that information to the camera body, because it's not showing that it is. But other than that, it is transmitting your EXIF information, your aperture, shutter speeds that you've taken the photographs with. Auto ISO works fine. The autofocus is fine. I've not come across any other issues with the adapter, to be honest. So yeah, there we go. That is the Megadap ETZ11 adapter. I will put an Amazon link in the description where you can buy it from Amazon, and I'll put that link in the description. It's great if you've got, you know, a range of Sony lenses or Sony mount lenses, Sony E-mount lenses. It could be Sigma or Tamron lenses. It'll work with them. I've used it with Tamron, I've used it with Sigma, and I've used it with Sony lenses, and it works fine with all of those brands of lenses, as I said earlier, on both the APS-C Nikon bodies and the full frame Nikon bodies. So, you know, a great adapter. It's not cheap. That is another criticism of it, but it's cost effective purely because you don't have to buy new lenses for your Z mount bodies. If you are migrating from Sony to Nikon, I'm sure you'd want to buy Nikon lenses at some point, but at least to get you started, or if you've got two systems, like I'm using Sony and Nikon, so now I can mix and match the lenses, and that is fantastic. So really appreciate that. So there we go. So what we're going to do now is end this video on filming with the Megadap adapter on my Z5. So now let's switch out this and put an adapted lens on my Z5, so you can see what the video quality is like using an adapted lens on a Z mount body. So I've now swapped out the Nikon Z mount lens, which was actually a Viltrox Z mount lens, on my Z5. I'm filming this now on the Z5. So I'm looking at the Z5 now with my Sigma, sorry, isn't this the Sony 16-70 lens on, the f4 16-70 lens, Zeiss lens on my Z mount body using the Megadap adapter. The autofocus will be fine. It's working really good. I've got to say it's working really good because I've got a lot of confidence in it that it is working very good. You see, even I'm moving around just so you can see how it should be holding on to the, you know, my face, and you know, tracking it fine. So, you know, great for using adapted lenses for video as well as for stills. So I'm looking forward to using it for both. And as I say, it's going to save me money. It's going to save me money in investing in a lot more Z mount lenses. I've got a few. I've got the 50mm f1.8, which I love. I've got I've got about 3 other Z mount lenses, and you know, I'm loving the Z system. It is really good. And now that I can adapt Sony E mount lenses to the Z mount bodies. Wow, that is wonderful. So there we go. That's just an introduction to the Megadap ETZ11 adapter, and as I said, it comes with the little connection to be able to update the firmware. So there we go. So thanks very much for watching. We've now switched back to the ZFC with the 50mm f1.8 lens on. A lovely lens, a lovely camera body. Although it's a full frame lens, works great on the ZFC, but obviously it's tighter than 50mm. That's about 75mm, isn't it? Something like that. And that's working brilliantly. So I love it. So there we go. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you found my videos really helpful and entertaining and enjoyable. So if you do, please subscribe and hit the like button if you like the content of this video. And please leave comments in the comment section. That really does help me grow the channel, and I really love reading them, and I really appreciate every comment. So that is fantastic. So thanks very much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos relating to video, photography, audio, podcasting, so on and so forth. Thanks very much. Cheers for now. Bye.